ranking the top 10 group of 6 football teams.
College football is back, and we're back on the Big Mountain to rank the G6 teams.
Hey, welcome back to the Big Mountain. I'm JY. This is my good friend Steve. And we usually do power rankings every other week for all the Big Ten, Mountain West, Pac-2 schools. And we were given an idea we should do a top 10 G6 listing. And so we're going to do that on the off weeks. We'll keep going back and forth. So this week will be the first time we do a G6 top 10. Of course, we're going to start at the bottom and work our way up. I do want to just say we have 2 honorable mentions here, Steve, that did not make our top 10, but they are Fresno State and Hawaii. Fresno State you had as your number 10. Hawaii I had as my number 10, and they play here in week 4.
That's awesome. I mean, one of them probably, whoever wins is probably going to make our top 10 next week.
I would 2 weeks from now. I would assume so, unless they have another hiccup. But yes, a really big game for those 2 teams. So let's get to our actual top 10. Here at number 10, we have North Texas. They come in at 3-0 right now. Yeah. Just put a hurtin' to Wazoo here in week 3. Also have a win against Western Michigan. In 9, we have East Carolina. We both agreed on them, Steve. We had them at 9, ranked 9 each. They're 2-1. And they had a huge win versus Coastal Carolina here this past week. They did lose in week 1 to NC State. But NC State, I think, is 3-0 right now. They're looking pretty good.
Yep. The NC State, who I thought was going to look good last year and didn't.
Yes.
This year, they're finally proving me right a year later.
So, whatever.
Yeah.
Number 8, we have Texas State, one that we dramatically disagreed on. So the only Sun Belt school that we have here is Texas State. You had them actually out of your top 10 at 12th. I had them all the way up in 5th. They have a really, really strong offense. They sit here at 2-1. Of course, they just lost to Arizona State, but they did beat UTSA just a few weeks ago. So any comments on the first 3 there, Steve?
Yeah, well, I want to say both North Texas and Texas State have huge potential to move up.
Yes.
Because these were the 2 that we were very much off on.
Yes.
We kind of had them flipped. And so if the other person, like if they get another good win and the other person, these 2 teams could move up, I mean, potentially all the way up in the top 5 next week.
Right.
Next time we do this. So both teams off to a great start, really solid football teams.
That's true. I had North Texas all the way down in 14th.
Yeah.
So I had them way down. You had them up in 7th. So they rounds out to being in our top 10. And they're a good team. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. But I don't know. They just didn't have it. Like Wazoo for me is below mediocre. And so I didn't give them much credit. All right, let's go to 6 and 7. We'll hit these 2 together. Number 7, we have Toledo. They're 2-1. Just lost to Kentucky, but a very strong MAC team. Picked them to win that conference. And then Navy, we have at 6. They're 3-0. They've got wins. They've had an easy schedule so far, but I do think they're a good team. They beat UAB, who's really bad, and Tulsa, who's not very good either.
Right.
So we're going off of what we think that team is, not so much what they've done so far. So any comments on Navy or Toledo?
I think for both of those, we both had pretty good expectations of them coming in, and they've both lived up to that. So they're tracking. Both of those teams, I think, are tracking very well, especially for their conferences. Both of them are set up nicely to make a run in their conference.
Yes. All right, let's get to our top 5. I'm going to hit 4 and 5 first, and then I'll save the top 3. I'll save a little suspense in the top 3. But 5, we have Boise State, and 4, we have UNLV. So 2 Mountain West schools sitting at 4 and 5. Of course, UNLV is 3-0. They have that win versus UCLA. Also beat Sam Houston State down there in Houston. And then Boise sitting at 1-1. Of course, they come out in week 1, go down to Florida, lose to USF, a school we haven't talked about yet. And not just lose to them, they didn't show up real great in that game. They had an off week. They come back, they play Eastern Washington, and are able to win that game. And of course, again, they're 1-1. We're not ranking them 5th because of their record right now, but because of who we think they actually are and how good of a G6 school and program they are. So UNLV at 4 and Boise at 5. What do you think?
I really struggled with these 2 teams. I couldn't remember how I ranked them in our power rankings,
Okay.
but I didn't want to go back and look because I wanted to just be, kind of fresh thinking on both. And I struggled with these two teams about, I had them right next to each other in the rankings. But the good thing is we're going to see them play later on this season.
We will.
So yeah, with Boise, the expectations coming in, I still think they're a really good team.
Yeah.
And UNLV has not played. Well, they have a win over a Big Ten team, which is fantastic for them. But they haven't played necessarily a really, really tough schedule.
Sure.
So it's hard to tell. And they're a totally rebuilt team starting from scratch. And you mean, even after week one, you had UNLV fans that were pushing the panic button after a win, but they've steadily improved. And we're going to see them play each other later on in the year. So I think it kind of makes sense for them to be right there next to each other as probably the top contenders for the Mountain West.
Right. Yep. So right there, 4 and 5. I had UNLV up at number 3. You had them at 6th, and then Boise we both had right there around 5 and 6. So we definitely agreed. I did struggle a bit with Boise because they're 1-1. I still think they're a good team. They've only played 2 games.
Yeah.
And I think at 5 is a solid rating till we get more data. In 2 weeks, and we'll see where they end up. All right, I'm going to hit the top 3 here. Just wham bam, thank you, man.
Yep.
Number 3, we've got Memphis, the Memphis Tigers, sitting here at 3-0. Number 2, we have Tulane. They are sitting at 3-0, and our number 1 G6 team right now through 3 weeks is USF. Of course, they're 2-1. Just lost here this past week to Miami, but massive wins over Boise and Florida to start the season. So yes, they're 2-1. I actually had them as number 2 on the list. You ranked them as number 1. I had Tulane actually as number 1, but I'll tell you what, the top 2 there I think are easy, USF and Tulane for me. And I kind of looked at what wins have they had. Well, my gosh, Tulane beats Duke and Northwestern. Okay, they're not at the top of the ACC and the Big Ten, but they're 2 decent power programs, and they're 3-0. So Tulane's looking darn good. And then, of course, USF, massive win versus what many had being the top G program coming in to the season. Boise there, and not just winning, again, winning pretty good. They also then go and beat Florida, and Miami just, they're top 5 in the nation for crying out loud. So, to me, the top 2, I have no issues with at all. And Memphis, another, they're 3-0. They beat Troy, they beat Georgia State. They don't have a P win on their schedule, so they're not playing the degree that the other 2 are. I really knocked them down because of that. Not because they're not a good team. They just don't have the wins that the other 2 have.
Yeah, for me, the top 3, it's where I struggled with the top 3. I thought about knocking USF down a little bit just because they had a loss, but then I thought about it like there's absolutely no shame in them losing to Miami, especially on the run that they've been on. There's games one right after another. So I just kept them there. And for me, Tulane and Memphis, and you're right, I think Tulane has a better resume right now. Memphis, I think, has that potential to be really, really good. So for me, those 2 are kind of a dice roll. The good thing is, however you look at it, but they're all in the American.
Yes,
okay?
right.
They're going to play each other. They're going to sort it out.
Yes.
The American's looking really strong early, led by that USF, putting up, a really good resume to start the season. But American's looking very strong this year.
Absolutely. So we have 6 American teams in our top 10. I don't think it's going to stay that way. But you never know.
Yeah.
But we have 6 American. We have 2 Mountain West, 1 Sun Belt, and 1 MAC. We don't have any PAC or Conference USA teams in the top 10.
And I want to say a little bit more about the American.
Okay.
I thought their rebranding over the summer was very cool.
Yeah.
I think it just makes things a little simpler. I liked the logos. I liked everything they did. They got kind of ripped a little bit on Twitter saying, "Oh, it was corny. Oh, there wasn't, too much of a difference." But again, I think their rebranding was good. And they're putting together a really strong season so far. We're still early into the season.
Right.
To, with what's going on with Mountain West and the PAC and the Mountain West breaking up, some teams leaving, the American is in a really good spot to really kind of solidify and claim their position as the top G6 program. And to me, they look even better than Next year we're going to have a new pack.
Right.
But I think the American is doing a really good job right now this year so far in claiming that, like, hey, we are the top of the G6. So you combine the branding decision that they made with performing well on the field. The season is starting really great for them.
Yeah, performance to me is all that matters. I agree with you on the rebrand. I'm not disagreeing with that, but performance for me is all that matters. The only kind of issue that you maybe have now in the American, they have so many teams, they don't all play each other, right? But do they kind of eat their own a little bit to allow a 11-1 Boise or 11-1 UNLV or whatever to take that spot? Could easily happen.
Absolutely.
And that's kind of been my issue. I've been telling people with the pack, like, if they're going to eat their own, and you're going to have a bunch of 9-3 or 8-4 teams, the CFP spot's going to go to an 11-1 team. I don't care what the conference is. They're going to go to the 11-1 team. That's just how it is. So.
Absolutely.
All right. Hey, this was a cool idea. We thank you guys for watching this. We'll update this in 2 weeks. There's our top 10. Put some comments below. Tell us what you agree with, what you disagree with, and I'll be watching that Hawaii-Fresno State game. I love it. The 2 honorable mentions going up against each other there in Hawaii. With that, hey, smash the like button, subscribe if you like our content, and we'll see you next time on the Big Mountain.